morning. Good morning. How the devil is everyone doing this fine day? Hope you're all fit and well. Yep, the new hat has got its first outing. There you are. That's what it looks like. That time I had a bit of a change. As my friend used to say, baseball hat, total twat, I've got rid. Only temporarily. It will be back at some point. But yes. Andy Darvell says, the hat. Yeah, it's about time. Peter McKenna says, oh my God, the hat. Yeah, see, when I'm not here, I'm a stylish gentleman, and no mistake. Andy Darvell says, good morning, everyone. Countdown to machines parked up for a well-deserved 2-week off. Can't wait. No, me either. Gary Muirhead is enjoying the tit for tap. Jim Turner's here as well. Mark Whiting's here. Peter McKenna's here as well. Almost like we've got a full house. And here is now. I've actually fixed Footy's button, so I can actually say him by a press of a button. Good morning, Footy, as well. Now let me get rid of that. How was your weekend? Peter McKenna says, I think you would suit a top hat better. Yeah, I'd just struggle to get it in the frame, though. That would be the trouble. I'd like one of those big Abe Lincoln stovepipe jobs, about 6 foot tall. Or at least I'd be 6 foot tall. Who have we got here? Dan, you man. There's Dan Cullen over on YouTube today. Morning, Dan. Thank you very much indeed for being here. Yes, I am a dedicated follower of fashion. There was a time earlier this morning. There was a neck scarf to go with this. Thought it was a bit much for a Monday morning. Took it off. I'll spare you that. We're almost there, people. We are almost there. We've nearly made it all the way to the end of the year. Been a bumpy road at times, I have to admit. There were times I thought we wouldn't make it across the finishing line, but here we are, just 5 shows, including this one. And then that's it. Another breakfast show year over and done with. All I can hope is that I can find another four shows worth of content after today to see us all the way through until Friday. But I'll worry about that tomorrow, because today, as always, we have enough great stuff, in fact, just to keep you posted. Now, it is Monday. Yes, Chris Ford, it is good to see our friend back. Peter is back in the house. And another one, Craic, over at CSW. Groundworks, good morning to you as well. Haven't seen Craic for a little while, so good to see you back, Craic. Welcome. And Ken Hatcher has just joined us. I think we have a full house now. Now, it is a Monday. I don't know why I'm telling you that. You already know that. But Mondays, I always drop a new article. There is a new one today. Just very quickly, I'm just going to explain what it's all about. There is a project going on, a kind of small-scale demolition and a kind of larger-scale construction. Down the end of my road, like 4 minutes from where I'm sat right now, Stoneleigh railway station. It's got a very old, very leaky, very tatty footbridge. The footbridge is being taken out and being replaced with something shiny and new that's much more in keeping with leafy Surrey. And I've been following it. I've been following the project because I go in and out of the station on a fairly regular basis. But the biggest thing I've been following is the guys that are working there. Sometimes there's been like 15, 20 guys on the site doing various bits and pieces. There's some plant down, there's telehandlers, mini excavators, and they've been breaking out the old footbridge to make way for the new one, and so on down the line. But what's been most interesting is watching the guys that are working there spending their money locally. I've had to queue behind them to get my hair cut. There is hair under this hat, I promise. Not much, because I've had a haircut, but there is hair under here. My wife has had to queue behind guys getting their toenails trimmed, all in high-vis. But the local cafes, the local pub, the local chemist, the local supermarkets have all benefited from the presence of demolition and construction workers. So today's article, which is called, I thought this was very clever, Breakout to Help Out. Rishi, you can thank me later. That's what the article is called. Now, you can see the link to it in the chat. It is behind a paid firewall. However, if you've not been there before, you are entitled to a 7-day free trial, so you can go and enjoy the article in all its glory, should you so desire, if you're that way inclined anyway. Now, without further ado, let me roll the intro, post the question of the day, and get this show on the road. It is Monday, the 18th of December. Welcome to the Breakfast Show. I am your host, Mark Anthony. In today's show, we have a bellissimo Big Bang all the way from Italy, courtesy of our friends at DSG Demolition. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that right, but good morning to those guys anyway. Wacker and optimises dumper safety. We're taking another look at the elevating cab telehandler from those fine folks at Sennebogen, and we're out on site with CJ Charlton once again. Plus, we're going to take a spin through XCMG's incredible Chinese manufacturing plant. But before we get to all of that, we're going to peer back through the mists of time to see what was happening on this very day in history. Yes, on this day in 1642, Abel Tasman, he of Tasmania, his expedition became the first European voyage to reach New Zealand. In 1799, George Washington's body was interred at Mount Vernon. In 1917, Prohibition was ratified in the US, and we all know how that turned out, Al Capone and all. In 1963, possibly one of the funniest films ever, the first Pink Panther film premiered in America. In 1968, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang premiered here in the UK, and I guarantee it will be on TV over the Christmas period. In 1972, the Vietnam War came to an end, with America leaving with a bloodied nose and a tarnished reputation. And in 2009, the original Avatar movie was released. And on this day in 2022, just 1 year ago, Argentina beat France to claim the first ever Winter World Cup. Lionel Messi and all. Now, before we get to the real meat of the show, let me very quickly remind you of our question of the day. Yes, now, I probably need to explain at this point because our friend from stateside, Wolf Welder, has just arrived. Good morning to you, sir. Thank you very much indeed for being here. Now, the question of the day today relates to Christmas pudding. Not sure if they have Christmas pudding in America. So this, if you don't, I can only apologise for today's question of the day. But for anybody that's on this side of the pond, this will make perfect sense. So between myself and Gary Muirhead, Gary kind of inspired the question, and I tweaked it a little bit. So we've come up with, hopefully we can come up with enough festive questions to see us through the week. But this one was inspired by Gary. Assuming you actually eat Christmas pudding, what do you have with it? Are you a cream person? Are you a custard person? Or are you all about the brandy butter? Do you mix and match? My father-in-law is custard and cream. Too much for me. Personally, I'm a cream man. Much as I love custard, no place anywhere near my Christmas pud. But what about you? What about you? What do you have with your Christmas pud? Let us know in the chat. We'll come back to that at the end of the show. And we're going to crack on with that show right now. So a couple of things just before we get to the real start. Footy says, I remember Christmas puddings when you used to get a silver sixpence in it. Yeah, so do I. So do I. And Wolf Welder, I've never had a Christmas pudding, but I feel like I'm missing out. Yeah, kind of you are. It's quite stodgy, full of fruit, usually filled with brandy and stuff like that. So it's quite heavy. You've just had an enormous meal, and the last thing you need is a big, thick, sticky, rich pudding, and yet that's what us Brits will serve you on Christmas Day. I have to say, I do like it. I do like it a lot, and I don't know why we only eat it at Christmas, but that is a whole other story. Now, we're going to start the show, and I should say hello, everyone, or should I say ciao tutti? See, I speak Italian. That was it. We're going to start our final working week of 2023 with a bang, with a big bang, with a big Italian bang, to be precise. The team at DSG Demolition have sent me what I can only describe as a superb implosion film for me to share with all of you. So, with love from Italy, here we go. Superb work by the team at DSG and by the video team. If they are watching, I want to say grazie mille for sending that over. And buongiorno, obviously. That is how you start the working day, and certainly the working week. Now, there's a couple of comments have come in here, and they kind of marry together in a funny sort of way. Gary Muirhead says, a wee visit to DSG is overdue, Mark. I agree. Now, although she's probably watching and she's going to walk through the door and knock my hat off, if things had gone according to plan, this past weekend, I would have been in Italy. As you know, I've been to Bergamo twice in the past 12 months. Liked it that much. We looked into going back to do the Christmas markets, enjoy the scenery, mainly to enjoy the food, to be perfectly honest. But it coincided with my grandson, Ronnie's 7th birthday, which was on yesterday, actually. So that explains why I'm not currently in Italy, although I'd like to go back. And if DSG are watching, love to come and see you. But it also explains, Footy says, did your lady wife like the Baileys drink on WhatsApp? I don't know, because grandson's birthday this weekend, I have done nothing with WhatsApp this weekend at all. I promise I'll go and have a look. Dan says can't see any comments on the screen. It's because you only get to see the comments from YouTube while you're on YouTube. If you're on Facebook, you see the Facebook comments. If you're on LinkedIn, you see the LinkedIn comments. You're over on, I think there's only a couple of you actually watching on YouTube at the moment. So my apologies for that, but that's the reasoning for it. And I can understand Dan. Dan actually mentioned earlier the fact that he has left a lot of social media because he's spending too much time on it. Every week I get my report through to tell me how much screen time I've had, and every week it seems to go up. Time to pare back, I think. I am going very much analog in the new year. If anybody's been following my writing over on the Medium platform, I've got about me new note cards. I've got new notebooks, and I'm going to be writing. Obviously, I'll be writing with a computer at some point, but I'm going to be doing an awful lot with pen and paper. You remember that? You remember pen and paper? Lovely old stuff. Right. Should we get back on track? I think we probably should. Let's have a bit of this.
If you are enjoying this episode, please consider supporting the show. You can leave us a tip at buymeacoffee.com/demolition news.
It is but a few months since I was in Germany with those very fine folks at Wacker Neussen, and great fun I had too. During our visit, they brought us up to speed with all their latest equipment, but their development didn't stop there. They didn't wait for me to leave and say, right, okay, we can put our feet up. The pillock with the hat has gone. They carried on. In fact, they're still working to make their site dumpers better than ever. I was already pretty impressed with Wacker dumpers. It seems to me that some dumper manufacturers feel like they're resting on their laurels or their traditions. It's like they believe they've reached peak dumper. Yet Wacker still pushing to make their machines bigger, better, and a lot safer with each iteration. Let's have a look. Footy says, I think if all dumpers had a cab on them, rather. So our drivers could sit in a cab. I believe so too. Much, much safer. Much, much more secure is my belief. Now, what have we got coming up next? Oh, yeah. I know what we've got coming up next. After this. week or two ago, we brought you some footage of a Sennebogen telehandler featuring a very smart elevating cab design. You might recall it sparked quite a bit of debate. Well, the company's released another film of that machine in action. So take a look at this and we can discuss it more after this or at the end of the show, possibly both. I'll leave it up to you. Well, don't know about you. I was impressed before and I'm even more impressed now. What say you people? Sennebogen telehandlers, hot or not? Now, I'm going to throw over to the chat. The last video obviously featured Wacker and Callum McIntosh. Good morning, Callum. Says Wacker streets ahead on dumper innovation. I have to agree. I do have to agree. Big fan of the what was the thing called? The high vis dumper from JCB. Not even sure whether that's even continuing now. I thought that was a real revolution, but everybody else seems to be standing by. It looks to me like Wacker are really forging ahead. Now, Dan Cullen asked, "What's that tune be great for to be munching to?" I don't know which tune you're referring to. If you're referring to the one from DSG with the blast, that was supplied with the video. I'm sure I can rip it if you want it. If it's anything else, I don't think I've actually added any music today. So just to let you know. But speaking of music, I do want to remind you that we are still collecting Breakfast Show bangers. I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago. I'm going to compile, and I'm probably going to do it over the Christmas break, actually. I'm going to compile a Spotify playlist for you to munch and crunch and shear and break and dig and load to. I've already had some suggestions, but I'd like some more. So if anybody has any suggestions on great songs to dig or demolish to, please let me have them, and I will add them to the Breakfast Show Bangers playlist. Now, let's have a little bit of this.
Since the finance bill came into effect in April, the construction industry has seen a surge of fuel thefts. The rising cost of living has placed an additional risk of theft by employees and contractors, as well as opportunistic thieves. By using diesel dye and placing warnings of its use, you are sending a clear message that this is your fuel.
CJ Charlton has become something of a regular here on the show for two very clear reasons. The first reason is that they produce some very good videos. The second, far more important reason, is that they just do demolition right. Yeah, hats off to Chris and his team. 2023 been a great year for CJ Charlton. I wish them more of the same in 2024. I wish you all more of the same in 2024. We're coming up to our final film. You might want to strap in for this one.
If you would like to buy a limited edition Break Fast show sticker, head on over to buymeacoffee.com/demolition news/extras.
Here on the Mighty Breakfast Show, we have brought you plenty of factory walkthroughs. But when you're touring one of the most advanced factories in the global construction equipment sector, why walk when you can fly? Now you can see why some European manufacturers are right to be concerned about the threat from China. Yeah, pretty impressive, right? That pretty much wraps up the main part of this morning's show. I'm going to roll the outro in just a second before leaping gazelle-like while clinging on to my new hat. Leaping gazelle-like over into the chat to see what you're all saying today. If you can't stick around, please do stay safe. Look after yourself, your family, friends, and your colleagues. But if you do have the time and the inclination, stick around. The Craic will begin immediately after this final word from our key show sponsor. Lovely. Morning, everyone. How are we all doing? Suggestions for breakfast show bangers. Now, The Getaway by 10-Foot Pole. I don't know that. The Distance by Cake, The Devil Went Down to Georgia by the Charlie Daniels Band. The Devil Went Down to Georgia by the Charlie Daniels Band. One of my all-time what is it he says? You sit down in that chair right there and I'll show you how it's done. I love that song. Absolute stormer. Morning all. Morning all. Hope you're all having a fantastic time and I hope you had a great weekend as well. Thank you for joining us. First off the mark this morning was Mr. Peter McKenna. Just while I'm doing that, let me just show you a thing. If I can find it, let's have a look. It is that one, I think. Yeah, there we go. That is my column for today. It is called Breakout to Help Out, and that is what it looks like. That is my local station right there. If you can see that, that's Stoneleigh Station, and it's my story today is all about that. And the thing that prompted it, I'm just going to read something out. According to a study by the Confederation of British Industry and Oxford Economics, every £1 spent on construction creates £2.92 of value for the UK economy. That was my starting point, which kind of makes you wonder why our friend, and I use the word friend advisedly, why our friend Rishi Sunak still got cold feet about all things HS2 related. Put £1 in, you get £2.92 out. That seems like a pretty good deal to me, but not good enough for Mr. Sunak. He'd much rather stop the small boats because, he is a little obsessed, I think. I'll say good morning to Peter. I'll say good morning to Glenn Johnston. Good morning, Glenn. How are you doing, mate? Hope you're fit and well. Hope you had a good weekend. When is everybody else finishing? I'm finishing on Friday, going right the way up until The Wire. Everybody else, are you all working up until Friday? Love to hear from you. There's Peter McKenna. Morning, Peter. Say I hope everyone has a super fine day. I certainly plan to. I have to admit, a lot of the hard work is kind of over and done with now. I've got no columns written for next week because I don't need to. I want to take some time and do that. What I do have, Gary, you'll be proud of me. I've already got the first 2 questions of the day for next year. I've got the first 2 in the can already. See, that's the power of analog. You put a notepad by yourself and you can note these things down as they come to you. Good morning, Mark. Speaking of the quizmaster himself. Good morning, Mark. Good morning, guys. The countdown begins. Yes, just 4 more shows now. Fantastic stuff. Jim Turner's in the house. Mark Whiting's in the house. Morning, gentlemen. One and all. Andy Darvell is here. Says, good morning, everyone. Countdown to machines parked up for a well-deserved 2 weeks off. Can't bloody wait. No, just as a very quick reminder, I stop on the 22nd. We do a show on the 22nd. That's when I stop. I'm back on the 8th. So I think I've got about 16 days off. It's something like that off the top of my head. There is. Morning all. Steve Williamson says, home straight now. Yeah. Doesn't it feel like it? I woke up this morning and my first reaction, literally for a nanosecond, was, oh, God, it's 6:30 on a Monday morning. And it was quickly followed by, but not many left. Not many left. Chris Ford is in the house. Good morning, Chris. That says, good morning, everyone. It's that downward week this week. Looking forward to two days off. 2? That's not right. You need more time than that to recharge the batteries, Chris. Man of your advanced years, surely. Andy Darvell says, oh yeah, the hat. Now I think I've got to go that way. You see the feather? I hope you can. I want to say that into the microphone this time. Can you see the feather? Very dapper, honestly. So proud of it. I went all the way to Camden to buy this, I'll have you know. Peter McGinnis says, oh my God, the hat. Gary Muirhead says, nice hat. Thank you. Really quite pleased with it. Footy, who now has a working button on my StreamYard. For some reason, he decided it wasn't going to behave itself. Chris Ford, well done. Not quite Popeye Doyle. I'd love that. Over the years, never really aspired to be like a handsome celebrity. And I never sat there and thought, oh, I wish I looked like Brad Pitt or George Clooney. But when I started to go grey and stuff like that, my initial was I'd love to age like Chris Christopherson. I wanted to get gnarly and weather beaten. And then I started to lose my hair, so that wasn't going to be it. But Popeye Doyle, for those of you in the know, French Connection, Gene Hackman, love to look like that. Proper, generally pissed off for the world. That's kind of how I feel. I I'd just like to look like it as well. There is Peter McKinnon says, I think you would suit a top hat better. I have to admit, the place I bought this is a hat shop in right near Camden Lock, and they did have bowler hats in there. I was very, very tempted. Maybe one of these days. I'd quite like this in navy blue as well, because I've got a nice navy blue coat that would look fetching with this. Dan, your man, is over on, and Dan has made a good point. Actually, he's actually taken a bit of a step back from all things social media. I'm planning to do this. I live or die by social media as far as business is concerned, but I'm not planning to spend a huge amount of time over there in the new year for pleasure, because half the time it isn't a pleasure, and it really does sap your time. You know, I can lose an hour scrolling through Instagram without too much trouble at all. And imagine what I could have done with that hour. I could have had a nap, for example. Gary Muirhead says, yeah, dedicated follower of fashion. I am indeed. You lot don't know, because I know I've met a lot of you kind of belatedly, but yeah, I've for a while, you know, I've worn some stuff over the years. Let me put it like that. Footy says, you do a nice leather top hat. Do you? I have to admit, there was I saw it first at Glastonbury, the Glastonbury Festival, but there's a shop again in Camden, because Camden is hip and groovy. You can get like a steampunk top hat, complete with a pair of goggles on it. That looks good. That's a look, honestly. Yes, nice to see Peter back. I totally agree. Great to see our friend Craic back as well from CSW. Morning. Craic, are you still pumping out the videos? I haven't checked recently, because I've been pumping them out myself, to be honest. Let's have a look. Ken Hatter is here. What has Ken got weather-wise? He's got the rain. We've had a bit overnight, but it's okay now. Peter McKenna says, everyone is looking to forward to 2 weeks off. Sad to hear this, I have to say. Peter says, everyone is looking forward to 2 weeks off. Just wish I had not been incapable of actually working. Penniless and depressed. Hopefully the new year will be more successful. Keeping my fingers crossed for you, Peter. There isn't a worse time of year to be out of work. There really isn't. And, you know, I feel for Peter, and I feel for all the people that were working with Scrib Group, for example, McCormack's, those that haven't found themselves back in employment. I saw on one of the headlines today about another company that's gone down, owing its supply chain about 4 million quid, not in the demolition field, but in the general construction field. Absolutely terrible time for that to be happening. So my question for today was this. What do you have with your Christmas pud? If you have Christmas pud, that is. Peter McKenna, quick as a flash, says, brandy sauce and ice cream with my Christmas puds. Also like lashings of double cream if the brandy sauce runs out. Don't do the brandy sauce. Even when I was a drinker, I've never been a fan of booze in desserts. I don't believe sherry adds anything to a sherry trifle. Just give me the trifle, keep the sherry to yourself. I don't particularly like crepe Suzette with the booze, unless the booze has been properly burned off, and so on down the line. So no brandy cream for me, or brandy sauce. But I'm kind of with you on the double cream, not ice cream, and I'm an ice cream lover. Ken Hatcher says custard with mince pies and cream with his Christmas pud. Well played. There's our friend Wolf Welder, who I've tried to explain. It's as hard to explain a Christmas pud to an American as it is to explain to them the laws of cricket. If you've not experienced it, you just don't know. Let's have a look. Jim Turner says double cream. I'm with Jim I'm not with Jim, but I'm in full agreement with Jim all day long. Yeah, double cream, absolutely right. And yes, I remember Christmas puds. You got a silver sixpence in it as well. For those of you that are too young, and for our friend Wolf Welder, yes, when people were, you don't actually bake a Christmas pudding, do you? You boil it or you steam it. You don't boil it because that would be horrible. But you steam it, and yeah, the tradition was there was a silver sixpence. A coin of the realm back in the day was inserted into the steamed pudding, and it was supposed to be good luck if you got that silver sixpence. Not so much good luck if you managed to take out a crown or something like that with a silver sixpence, but that was the deal. Peter McKenna is offering up a history of the day. He says pioneering aviator John Alcock, a captain in the RAF, died in an aircraft accident while flying the new Vickers Viking amphibian to the Paris Air Show. Alcock and Lieutenant Arthur Whitten Brown were the first to make a non-stop transatlantic flight. A few days after the flight, both Alcock and Brown were honoured with a reception at Windsor Castle, during which King George V knighted them and invested them with the insignia as Knight Commanders of the Order of the British Empire. And that's where the thing runs out. But yeah, great achievement, richly awarded, dead. It's kind of what I'm aiming for, to be honest. Steve Williamson says, double cream. Trying Bailey's cream this year. Bailey's cream is very, very nice. Don't think it belongs on Christmas Pud, but it is very, very nice. Let's have a look. The closure of... Seem to have lost quite a lot of this one. The closing of Kellingley Colliery in North Yorkshire, the last remaining deep coal mine in... Was that the UK? Going to take a stab? Dan, your man says, having a nightmare on YouTube, a little coverage here in the canteen. Just depends where you are. Footy likes a nice brandy sauce. Gary Muirhead. Gary Muirhead is not even worried about the sauce. He's going for the... He's going pure. Brandy poured over it, set alight, and when it's cooled down, a big dollop of double cream. Yeah. As I say, I like the flambe, the theatre of flambe, but unless all that booze has been burned off, I want to taste the fruit and the pud. I don't really want to taste the booze. It's just me. Glenn Johnston is going cream. Very much a cream theme this morning. Question of the day: full on custard and cream. Custard and cream. That's my father-in-law. He's very much on the custard and cream. Gary says, yeah, we started the show with DSG, Demolition Speciale. I don't know if that's how it sounds, but yeah, they are turning these videos into blockbuster premieres. A couple of things on that. We've just finished a film, or I hope we've finished, it's away for approval at the moment. We've done a film for Despe on their top-down way. And that is a bit of a mini epic. And I say we, it's more Fred. I've done very little towards it. But yeah, and again, when you think about it, that's all part of being in competition, isn't it? You know, I think when you look at the equipment manufacturers themselves, you know, there was a time where you could put out a machine and a spec sheet, or a machine and a spec sheet became a machine and a brochure, and a machine and a brochure became a machine and a video, and then the videos got better and better. If you're going to stand out from the crowd, that's what you do. That's why I'm wearing the hat. That's why I do a live stream, and that's why nobody else is doing it. Good, I say. Good job, says Footy. That was talking about the Demolition Speciale. Left Facebook and all other media platforms that seem to be on them too much, so cutting down, says Dan. Can't blame you. Mick Norton has joined us. Morning, Mick. Thank you very much indeed for being here. Steve Williamson, love this video. Incidentally, just a very quick heads up, if you haven't already done so, I'm sure you have. If you're not already following Steve Williamson either on Instagram or on LinkedIn, he makes a bloody good video. Put a good one out today. Go have a look. You'll thank me. Is that the perfect drop, says Craic. It's pretty damn close. Pretty damn close. I still believe that the greatest implosion of my career, lifetime, that Kakenzi, two chimneys colliding together and crumbling down. I still think that. I don't even know if that will ever be beaten. It was just unbelievable. Chris Ford says, question of the day. Not bothered what goes on it, but cream or brandy sauce have got to be top of my list, as well as the pudding. Evaporated milk or custard in that order. Evaporated milk. There's an underrated thing from the past. One of my, well, no, it's not even one. There are several. When I was a kid, canned peaches with evaporated milk, or my grandmother, who was an absolutely terrible cook. However, she used to do these little bowls of custard with fruit in it. So mandarin oranges or fruit salad or whatever it might be, in jelly, evaporated milk on top. Man alive, nectar of the gods. Kind of got a hankering for jelly right now. Great start to a video and smashing music. Yeah. turned implosion videos on their head. Normally there's big build up and then big bang. They started with a big bang and then showed you how they got there. I was impressed, I have to say, and really good of DSG to reach out and say, we've got a video you might like. And they were right. Thank you very much indeed. Ken Hatcher says, wow. And Chris Ford says, down it comes. Indeed. Dan Cullen is on the muncher today. Footy, I'm going to go and look at WhatsApp. I've had it switched off all weekend because birthdays. What can I tell you? A wee visit to DSG is overdue. Listen, there are, and I don't know if anybody, I think Gary commented, Marco Larini has actually produced a book over at Larini, the people that did the conversion on the Jumbo. There is now a Larini book out. And long story short, I've had 4 trips to Italy in the past 12 months. Loved every second of every one of them. I am planning to go back to Italy. I want to go and see Despe again because they're just lovely people to work with. I want to go and see Marco Larini because I think I could interview him for days because the guy is, as I described him recently, he's the Willy Wonka of construction equipment. But I'd love to go and see DSG, particularly if they've got an implosion or a demolition. And I'd like to go and see Nitrex as well. Nitrex do the big bridge blasts. Love to go and see those guys. So guys, if you're watching, let's have a look. Dan Cullen says, looks like a great project. Tidy too. Yeah, very nice and tidy it was. Let's have a look. Where's the tune from? That would be great to be munching to. I'm assuming you mean the one from DSG. It's just wrapped in the video. I don't know what the tune is. But feel free to rip it from YouTube. What am I going to do? Try to stop you? I don't think I am. Footy says that all dumpers should have a cab on them. I agree. Wacker nice and streets ahead on dumper innovation, says Callum McIntosh. Listen, Callum knows his stuff. Callum knows his onions and quite possibly his haggis as well. I agree. I absolutely agree. I said it at the time when I wrote the JCB Renaissance book, whenever that was. I actually said that when you think about what JCB did with the high-vis dumper, you had the likes of Thwaites and Benford and Barford and Wingett and all of those people who have been manufacturing dumpers for 40, 50, 60, 70 years, however long it might be. And then along comes JCB. They had a short-term deal buying their dumpers in, and then they came out to the market with something completely different. And it was better. Make no bones about it, it was better. Those older dumper manufacturers have basically allowed, or had allowed, I'm not entirely sure if JCB are pursuing the high-vis dumper, but they basically allowed a newcomer, an upstart, to come along and steal their breakfast. Wacker Neuson, exactly the same. And I know Wacker Neuson have been in the dumper business for a long, long while, but they've not stopped. It's constant. I mean, look at the dual view dumper. You know, they are constantly looking for ways to make them better and more productive and above all safer. I have to say, I say hats off quite a bit, but hats off to Wacker Neuson. They really are pushing the envelope over there. Let's have a look. Nice to see a green telehandler. If you like green telehandlers, Merlot. Go and take a look at Merlot. They do some damn fine telehandlers as well. Tidy telehandler. Yeah, great operator position. There was a bit where there was the guy was loading into like I'm not even sure what it was. It was like a crusher, but it was like a window in a crusher. Try to do that from ground level would be really, really tricky. Put yourself up exactly level with the bucket, and you can see both sides. You can put that thing exactly where you need it. Just makes perfect sense to me. I'm going to note down these Breakfast Show bangers, potential bangers from Jim Turner. The Getaway by 10-foot pole, The Distance by Cake. I don't know that, but The Devil Went Down to Georgia. I don't even know why I didn't think of that, because it is an absolute stormer of a song. Other records, Freebird. I like Stairway to Heaven. See, can't be doing with that. Can't be doing with that. But Freebird, one of the great, it's Lynyrd Skynyrd, right? One of the great all-time guitar solos. Callum McIntosh, out of left field. She Sells Sanctuary by The Cult. 100%. 100%. What an absolute banger of a tune that is as well. Footy says, I'm honoured now to have my own button. Thank you very much indeed. You've had your own button for months. I just couldn't get it to work. I've managed to fathom it out. Here's my other half. We just pour cream on. No brandy, no coin in the middle. It's because you're too stingy, madam. Too stingy by half. And because sixpences don't exist anymore. Footy says, I think the best man who ever took chimneys down was Fred Dibner. He did it in style. He did it in a style. I'm not sure. I don't think there's anything that Fred Dibner did that would be classified as legal or safe these days. But he did have a certain charm to him. I remember my dad watching him and laughing and saying how great he was. And I remember thinking, I don't get it. And then when you watch it back, I can see it. He was one of the great British eccentrics, I think. Listen, I've never watched a single thing with Guy Martin. Never, not one. I've literally, even when JCB have done collaborations with him and they put out JCB Guy Martin videos, never watched one. Just doesn't float my boat at all. But I'm fairly sure he is in the same kind of category that Fred Dibner was, just a personality and a character all his own. As I say, I can't say I dislike Guy Martin because I've never watched him. I've literally no idea what the fuss is all about. No idea whatsoever. Just not my bag, man. Right, people, that's an hour almost. It's 53 minutes actually, but that will do us for today. As I say, we've got 4 more shows, just 4. Blaster Bates was a legend too. Yeah, somebody actually gave me in actual fact, I think it may have even been on audio cassette. They had a recording of a Blaster Bates thing on the BBC. And yeah, for exactly the same reason. Over, under, sideways, down by the Yardbirds. I don't know that one. Over, under, sideways, down. I'm going to have to note these down because there's I always love I love discovering new music, but I quite like discovering old music as well. Has anyone ever heard Walking to New Orleans by, I'm fairly sure it's Fats Domino? Oh, man alive. What a song. Jim Turner says, I've got the tapes too. About 8. Yeah, I as I say, I'm fairly sure somebody sent me one, but it was very, very good, I have to say. Okay, I've got about 8 of them. Yeah, thanks. Right, people, go and do your Christmas shopping. Go and deck the halls with boughs of holly. And while you're there, you can fa la 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 if you wish. I'll be back here tomorrow, 10 a.m. Bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, still wearing the hat, probably without a neck scarf, but hey, who knows? See how the fancy takes me. I'll be back here tomorrow at 10, ready to roll with just 4 more shows to go. Till then, everybody, have a fantastic day. See you all soon.